What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 9 of the Sanctum Build in Public series, where we walk you through what we just accomplished last week. We're celebrating Mortober, so we're wearing the cult jacket. Shout out to all the early adopters. If you have patches, send them my way. I'll throw them on the jacket. If you're new to these episodes, this is a series where I show you what we finished building in the past week for our product, Sanctum. Sanctum is the app we're building for tabletop roleplay game designers, developers, studios. Essentially, if you want to create a tabletop roleplay game, this is how you do it. And we're making it to where it scales with your portfolio. It's the one-stop shop. It's the industry application, and it makes design more accessible in general, designing tabletop roleplay games. So that's Sanctum. There's no AI. This is not an AI app. No AI features. We're not interested in that. It's unnecessary, and a lot of other reasons that we all know about. So what else? Any disclaimers? This is work in progress software, so we haven't released yet. So we have two pools of beta users. We have an early adopter pool. Those are foundational heavy hitters in the design community. We're starting predominantly with the Mortboard community. Of course, we're cult members. And most importantly, the Mortboard community produces so much content, such a rapid rate at high quality content. It's just the perfect place to start. And we want to support our cult members. So having said that, not everyone is a Mortboard designer in our early adopter pool. They'll be the ones that get first access. It's a closed private access, hopefully at the end of this month, maybe at the end of November. But we're chugging right along. After that, we have a pool that's 3 times larger of beta users that are just as heavy of hitters, but may not be producing as dominant content. Maybe they're newer designers. Maybe they just do supplemental stuff. But essentially, our beta pool, also very important, really great designers in the Mortboard and outside of the Mortboard community, where essentially they'll get the next access to the app. And then once everyone feels like, hey, this is the right thing to go, then we'll release publicly. Ideally in January is the goal. Okay, that's the spiel. Let's get into it. So I'm stoked about this week. This week, a lot of stuff under the hood, super nerdy stuff happening, but man, it just gets us one step closer to the file inheritance tree that's going to literally blow the mind off of the industry in general. So let's get into it. Okay, so starting kind of in the same flow as the past few episodes, here's our repository. We are an indie collective. You could think of us essentially like Stockholm Cartel. I don't know why I did quotes for they are a real organization. And we, if we go into the members, here have 3 members. I am the only real person. These are all fake accounts. But we are the indie creator in this scenario. We're the owner of the organization. Editor is a member. You can think of them as like another designer who you want contributing to files and stuff. And then the last person is a viewer. And maybe this is a freelancer, maybe it's a publisher, maybe it's someone who's managing our social accounts. Maybe it's a visual designer, like an illustrator, that we want them to have access to the things that we're doing. We just don't want them touching the things that we're doing. But this is pretty basic. If you're familiar with the permission flow, it's always these 3, and we have the notes up here. Okay, so that's the context. And because we're going to be talking about this, we have no licenses in this organization yet. We're just getting started. Okay, so let's go into our public open source game. And just like before, we've reset the database. This is a clean start. So we don't have any files yet. We do have one branch. That's the protected branch. This is our single source of truth. We want to ship everything to publishing out of the main branch. We're going to be working in the main branch today. That's not recommended. However, we haven't built in branch changing yet. That's coming in the future. But the most important part of this week is we've officially set phase 1 of being able to do that in place. So I'm super stoked about that. Okay, so in our history, of course, we have no history. We haven't done anything in here. So let's create 2 files, a canvas file. This is our brainstorming file, perfect for game jams. If you're always doing a game jam, allows us to ask the right questions that we need to be able to come up with a concept and validate a game before we start working on it. We haven't built in the settings to edit this file at all outside of contributing to it. So let's go ahead and make a system file. Now that let's pretend we filled out the canvas, we know what we're building. We know that we need a core engine of our game. So that's the system file. Our core mechanics and licensing connects all that stuff. So this is brand new. So before we start, just go back into history. We're just validating. We've pushed even more progress and we've completed the Git tree here. We see that in the commit history, we have 2 changes that we made to this repo. We've created 2 new files. Nothing new here. This is just like the last update. However, if we go into our system file and we change the settings, let's just call this let's call it let's call this Dirkfurt. Darkfort. Okay, this is fake. And I'm going to change it to public, so we want this open source. So we've changed the settings of this file. Now, let's go back to the history. We now are documenting that we've changed the entire settings. The only thing left to do in the history tree, which we've officially this week, we've completed what we call the commit chain. So we're chaining these commits together that all lead to a starting point, which is the branch. So we're still working in the main branch, which we technically shouldn't be doing, but we don't have the ability to switch branches yet, which is why we're doing it. But most importantly, the only thing left here to do is to hook up where if you click on this, you see the before and after. But most importantly, we are documenting that change in our database. If I go to our database right now and click on this row, you'll see the old content and the new content. So we have that set up. It's just a matter of design, like what do we visually want that to look like? And how do we want to get there within this application flow? So the great news is that by all means, commit history is kind of the pattern is set up for us to be able to scale now to all the files. This is so important because this, as you know, plays the exact role in what we're about to be doing, which is publishing a file. So we still don't have a license. Because we don't have one like in our organization, it says create a license. But let's go to a system. And this is the same exact thing as last time, except now we have the data hooked up to it. We know we don't have any dependencies in this file because we literally cannot import anything right now because we haven't built that feature. That's what's going to go down here in the browse and the manage. That will be the next episode. It's all about importing files. And once we have that full flow, this is going to be so good because as you can see from what we're about to do, we're about to change the industry. Okay, so let's go publish. You could tell that this final validation confirmation modal has gotten a little more verbose. So we still have a reminder of what the visibility will do once you publish this. And now we have our 2 validation checks. This could essentially grow in the future, but right now we're essentially just checking 2 things. we're letting you know if you have a license assigned, but notice I could still publish because technically we don't want to restrict system files to only being used for systems. That defeats the purpose of Sanctum. Sanctum's meant to be, here's the framework, you use it to your ability, like however you want to. So what I mean by that is in this file, we're obviously devoting this system file. It's meant for an actual system. But if we go back to our repository and we go to our dice templates repository, this is set up, this fake data is set up exactly how in our production site right now, which is unreleased or hidden, if you will. We have Nurl has an organization that has a dice templates repository that's open source that has 3 system files in it. And that's a polyhedral set, dice pool, and 2d6. This is where we'll keep all of our templates as we add more in the future. And so all we're doing with this file is it's an empty file outside of our dice. And all we did was we just registered a very specific set of dice. So if we go back to our open source game, our Dark Fort, if we want to add dice here, if we clicked on this button, and keep in mind, we just shipped the publishing, so this part is not connected yet, but this is what I mean by we don't want to require licenses all the time for system files. We just set up a platform to where when you click this polyhedral set, all we're doing under the hood is importing that file, that system file, into this file. And so you instantly get all that data. And now you have this giant system tree. And so this is what I mean by this is about to just literally change the design world in this industry. So that's the power of this publishing importing system flow. So let's go back to the system. Let's go to publish. The only thing we're protecting against is this last check. So as long as this last check is good, which means that the file can be accessed by other people outside of yourself, then you're good to go. You can publish whatever you want. So a public file can be published. Workspace visibility can be published because it's viewable to your entire organization. A private file, however, that's the only file that cannot be published because only you, the single user, have access to that file. So there's no reason to publish a file that only you have visibility to. So that's the only thing that's checked. So as long as this has a check mark on this last one, you're G to G. And most importantly, we added a notes section. So this is our initial publishing, so we're not going to add anything here. But this is perfect for if you were publishing more versions in the future, like a 2.0 or whatever. You could put like I updated the attributes or whatever. And whenever you hit publish, everyone who has imported that file will get a notification saying 2.0 is now available at 2.0. And it will say the notes are like I updated the attribute or whatever. So it tells people what you've changed so they know whether they want to upgrade or not. And we'll be able to automate some of those changes under the hood to at least show them. Like here's the before and the after, since we're automating that in general. But this is a good practice for you as a designer within this version control system to at least contribute something to. So knowing that we're going to be doing this and we want this to be open source, ideally we want a license attached to this. So let's go ahead and create a license. We're going to call it Dirk. Oh man, I can't type that. Dirk for Dork for American. 1.0. It doesn't matter. This is all optional. It's a draft by default. This is for your own protection to make sure you can add all this other stuff. Just for the sake of doing it, we're going to add a policy, branding, do whatever we don't give. Okay, cool. Added this. It's now reminding us this version is outdated. So we're going to do 1.1. Cool. And we're going to add an asset. So I already have, we know that we want to extend Morkborg, so we have the compatible with. This will be built in. Morkborg should be already built into Nurl by the time the early adopters get it. So we're going to add this, and now we have the logo assessed to it. And so all we need to do now is just get it out of draft mode. So this looks good. Let's make it available. Okay, now we're good to go. So now let's go back to our repository and let's assign Dirkford. Cool, it's done. So now if we go to our systems, oh my gosh. Yeah, everything's looking good. I should probably do something here. In this summary view, we're showing dependencies, but we're not showing anything about the license. I should probably add that. But if you go into license, we now see, hey, everything's cool. So let's publish. And now we've seen that it's published. We have a little publish indicator. If we go to our repositories, we know that this file is published, this one's not. And that's essentially it. So this looks like it wasn't that much, but this is going to change everything. And you'll see in the next video where we have the file importing stuff built out, how powerful this is about to be. So that's it this week. The file importing is going to take a little longer, so I would think it's going to be 2 weeks to the next episode. But what are your thoughts? Are you stoked about this? Let me know. Please like the video. It helps us in the algorithms. Let me know in comments. Just tell me how you feel and how you vibing with the Sanctum right now. And to all the early adopters and the beta users, thank you so much for believing in us before we've even launched. It means the world to me. It keeps me going. And happy Mortober. A peace.